Otherwise, if uh, they just need someone to, I don't know, like speak to other students about as they come and share their experiences. I mean, I am um, happy to do that, and yet when you do share your experiences about college, because it's from like a viewpoint where like there has to be like that kind of portrayal of college that like that the college wants. Like I don't know how comfortable I would be doing that, because I might do it now because I still feel that sense of belonging. Will I feel it then? I can't guarantee that. That depends on how the next 2 years go for me, right?
Throughout my 4 years, I've been a part of conversations with other students talking about the ups and downs of their time at Ohio Wesleyan University. However, these conversations often don't reach the ears of staff, faculty, and administration members, at least not without being censored or interrupted. In my time here, I have felt there is a disconnect between administration, staff, and faculty, and BIPOC students specifically. As a biracial student myself, I have felt supported and valued by some professors and staff members, but I've also felt unheard, dismissed, and used as a marketing tool. If asked if I feel like I belong here, my immediate answer would probably be no. But I understand belonging is more complex, so I wanted to hear what other students felt about their sense of belonging at OWU.
I feel like belonging is kind of just like, you feel like you have a home.
Being in an environment that makes you feel makes you feel good and accepts you for who you are, unapologetically. The good, the bad, the ugly.
Being able to feel really like a part of the community, and that's never questioned.
I guess not feeling anxious about every little thing that I do, and feeling comfortable in every aspect of the word.
It's being in like multiple spaces where you feel heard, you feel seen, like your presence there is like welcome.
My identities can all be present, and that's not an issue.
Wherever you are, you can be there without any worries, and you know that people there will love and accept you.
At the end of the day, I came here for tennis, and I've never felt like I belonged on the tennis team. Honestly, my relationship to OWU tennis has been pretty rough. My first year was a lot of just mean seniors. My second year, it was hard because our coach, he didn't recruit. So we had a team of walk-ons mainly. It was disappointing, but I actually really enjoyed the girls. I actually didn't play my junior year. Now it's going good. I'm going to play tennis. I love the sport. I'm not gonna let anyone get in the way of my last year. Sophomore year, I got into La Casa. I knew a lot of people that had just entered the house. It was pretty cool. Like it really made me. I had like a home. It was great. It really changed my experience. It turned it around 100%. I go in there and I'm like, oh, like I'm home. That's my favorite part. It was Dr. Lever. He was my advisor too. I've grown to really like admire him. I was taking biochemistry last year, which was like miserable, and everyone was struggling, and I had just like failed like the second exam again. And he's very like analytical, so he was like, okay, you could do this, 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 and this, and these are the outcomes. And then he was just like, but I don't think you need to drop it. And I was like, what? He was like, I think you can pass it. And I was like, really? And I was this close to dropping it. And I didn't because he said that. And I was like, well, if he's going to tell me that I can do it, well, I can do it. It really led me to like one of the best like academic programs. that has taken me so far in my career already. So that's kind of where I learned to like love it. I had to go through some stuff here and grow, but it's just like, who would have thought?
I decided I did not want to graduate without trying the things that I wanted to try. Joining Greek life as a Black woman would obviously be very different. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to fit in? So basically, new members are littles and you get assigned a big, who's like either your big sister or mom. Sometimes it's kind of a little superficial. It takes time because, you know, you have to find the perfect pairing. Overall, I was like, I'm grateful that I went through it, the people that I met. I wouldn't change it because I love my little family, love my big, love my G-big, Kanye and Issa, love them to death. And that's the one thing I'm like, thank you to the sorority. I went in for my first business class here, and so that professor, Professor Volrath, was really amazing, very kind, so helpful. Like, I loved the way he taught, learned so much, and so I was like, can you please be my advisor, because my current advisor's in the psych department. And so I switched, and he's been very supportive and helped me throughout my entire career. So I was the RA for Bigelow Reed my junior year, because I was like, okay, you know, this is a space where I'm like, I feel comfortable, because, you know, it was like the econ business house, even though it wasn't restricted to that major. But, you know, COVID ruined it. But I still enjoyed my time there, and I was like, it was definitely shaped by the fact that, like, you know, I'd been around people that made me feel comfortable in the space that I lived in. I want to make someone else feel super comfortable, you know, in their living space at OWU. You know, as much as I'm not a fan of the weather in Ohio, it's the people that made me want to stay.
Sometimes I really do feel like a student here. Definitely some classes where like a professor will be really amazing and I'll just be totally drawn into their class and like I'm not thinking about anything else and like yeah, like I'm for sure like I belong here, you know, in this classroom. It could feel a bit alienating to realize this class is 10 white people, 1 Black person, and me. Pretty immediately, I felt pretty connected to La Casa. I felt like I belonged here and I belonged with my peers. The brightest moment I could think about is when we did some house bonding at Alum Creek. We played volleyball for like hours. There are a lot of students who come to this university and they don't need to create a safe space. They've never questioned their belonging because they don't need to. This space is their space. This university is their university. You know, but then when you tell students, oh, you could create any space, well, like, I don't know, like, that's nice and that's amazing. We could create our own space. There are other places where you can't, but I think what I really wanted is the space to be there to begin with.
And I fell in love with it as soon as I like stepped on campus here. I didn't feel safe on campus. I know that we're an open campus and that we really can't do anything. That was just one of like kind of times that I felt disappointed in campus security. The diversity has just been something that like has been absolutely not shocking to me, but also just has been really frustrating. Hiring more people of color and like increasing admission rates for people of color, but like the way that they do that, like that comes off as just like being like performative. I don't know how to like fix that. I mean, that's kind of like a double-edged sword of like making sure you're making a difference, but not making sure it's not performative as well. I've been thinking about transferring a lot. One, just like how expensive it is to go here, and then I want to have a place that like feels like home to me. While OWU sometimes feels like home, like I was like had like an expectation where like it's supposed to be like feel like home 24/7, and it's just like it's not like college is not supposed to feel like that. It's give and take. One, my friends. I know that we would be friends like regardless if I like transferred to like another school. Like I still have issues with like OWU like in particular, but it also just like I still really like going here. I really can't see myself anywhere else.
I actually submitted my application by mistake. I think I was really happy to be starting, the next like chapter of my life. So I was really honest, I was open. I was just trying to take it all in. From the start of like my college career to now, a lot of things have happened. There's been incidents and there's been changes in attitudes. Each year has come with like its own whole vibe type of thing, and I feel like sometimes the way in which like things were responded to or like maybe handled weren't necessarily the best. As students, it just, with the pandemic too, it feels like, I know people are trying, but it sometimes feel like we're not really being heard. Like BIPOCs, it's just sometimes feel like we are like constantly pushing for like to be heard. If not for I wouldn't have met my wonderful friends. I wouldn't have, I probably wouldn't have ever played rugby. Who knows? I, wouldn't have had the opportunities that I now have. I'll start with rugby. It's great. It's a lovely sport. I remember, I think it was Ornella and Paige, like they had been pestering me that whole year. Like, join. I was like, yeah, I need to get insurance first. I'll join. And then beginning of my sophomore year, I joined. And I remember like my first day, I was so nervous. I was so nervous. But then I literally have a picture of it. I was so nervous. But like I stuck. And best decision. My department has been incredibly helpful in helping me further like my career. Dr. Bailey. And Dr. Vadney. Dr. Vadney has also been super helpful. I remember this time last year, I was looking at internships, and I reached out to them. I always like bother them with like my career crises, but like, they sit down, they advise you, like send you all, expose you to resources. I think I was writing some of my statements, and she like she read them, she edited them. She was like, I think you should say this. I think, it was super helpful. I feel pretty neutral about it. I don't feel too strongly either way. I'm been tipping more towards the the side of things lately, but honestly, it's wherever there's people, it's just gonna have to feel that way at some point.
Delaware brought up a lot of things from my past of living in a small rural town, and it felt very much like isolating. And then I joined their entrepreneurial program, and I was sitting in one of our lectures, and it started off where one of our professors was like, yeah, so girls, if a guy asks you on a date, just say no. It's as easy as that. And then I raised my hand and I was like, well, that's incorrect. The other professor made a derogatory comment about women with hijabs. And so then I decided the best way to confront a white male on something wrong that he said was to wait, to not do it publicly. So I waited till after class. And I went up to them and I said, hey, the comments that you guys made during class today were extremely derogatory, were extremely sexist, and extremely racist. And as the only BIPOC woman here, I do not appreciate that. I was gaslit out of my experience. I was told that I couldn't take a joke and that I should basically suck it up. Every time I walked into Corns, I felt judged because I knew all the staff members knew. I knew that a fair amount of the students knew from the entrepreneurial program. So I knew as soon as I finished that semester, I had to change something. Living at Cow House, which is Citizens of the World, I don't think I would have been here if it wasn't for this house. I would have transferred. Yeah, this house has been a place where people can unapologetically be themselves, but also be able to have all of their identities present, which is what I appreciate the most. There was a situation with the Drive Safe, student driving vans, where a member of this household put it together in 24 hours. And met with the school to talk to them about how to make this a sustainable thing. And then they told her that they didn't have the funds. And now, coming into this year, we have the shuttle, we have security cameras that they have apparently installed on campus. The former house member put that program together because there were students who were being verbally assaulted, who were having derogatory slurs being yelled at them. There was hate stickers and hate posters posted on our campus and that our school never followed up about. There was a picture of a noose in Hayes, and the school said that they were going to do an investigation to find out who did it, and nothing ever happened. These are moments when we need our admin to step in, and then they don't. This is my biggest issue with OWU, is that they're focused on the new students rather than the current students. Something's very clearly not connecting to admin, and whatever reason that may be, they keep asking us questions, so I'm going to keep telling them answers.
And I feel like I have found a good place here. I saw that students have a greater say, they can make change happen. That is something that really appealed to me. As you work in the student government and with the administration, you come to the realization that's not always the case. I've even been ignored and gaslighted by members of the administration. I mean, I make mistakes, right? I'm quite sure I might have done something in the past that has sort of led to this, but I feel like there should be room for growth and allowing people and students to do that, because advocacy is not easy. At the end of the day, the idea is not to malign the institution. It's more like trying to make it a better place than where you found it at, One thing I really love about OWU is my professors, because every single one of them is brilliant, and if it weren't for them, I probably wouldn't be able to progress as far as I have. Possibly won't even be able to get a degree, because I face a lot of health issues, and without my professors being understanding of it, I wouldn't get through my classes. I feel like Cow really does a great job somehow of making you feel like you belong and then helping you grow as a person. And if all students can find their particular house or home or that place of belonging on campus, they can have an equally big impact on the university and also on the larger world. Trying to replicate what I feel here at Cow, but at the university scale, would be pretty cool if the university or if student government or somehow we could manage to do that. Despite everything, I'm happy here. I want to continue to stay happy here. Yes, I filter experiences because I know that despite the kind of things I've had to witness or suffer from, I still feel like this is a good place. But I want to make sure it stays a good place or becomes a better place. It doesn't become worse.
One of the last questions I asked each student during the interviews was, what will your relationship with OWU be like after you graduate? To me, this question gives a slightly different perspective on what it means to feel belonging in a space.
I will definitely have an appreciation for it, 100%. Will I come back? I don't know.
But I also want to see an international alum. I think I will probably do that just to be a resource, you know, make them feel seen, heard, and just like everything that I felt.
Pretty distant. Honestly, I can't think of any relationship that OWU would want with students other than an alumni to donate money to them as much as possible.
I want to be part of the process to make it better.
I really don't know, honestly.
I would come back here solely for if the people were still here. Other than that, I would not come back here.
So far, the only thing that comes to mind is like, oh, if I have a bunch of money and I've graduated from university, I'm probably going to give it to Car House. Because I know we could use it.
Next to and then credits right here. So like in the shot, you're good. Oh, that's cute. You can see her leg. Okay, Strike, you're good. Thank you. See you later.